We all know that men and women are different. Boy, are they ever. And as they say in France, vive la différence. But the extent of the sexual divide may surprise you.
A recent poll of 70,000 people in the United States indicated that nearly half the men questioned would actually ditch a partner who gained weight, compared with only 20% of women. Now, 2/3 of men fantasized about their partner's friends, while only 1/3 of women had done so. So why do men and women view the world and each other so differently?
Joining us in the studio to talk about that is Theo Sellis. He's a family therapist for close to 20 years. In Toronto, Valerie Gibson, Square Off's resident social commentator. Val, is it too simple to suggest that men are just, well, shallow? Is that just too simple an explanation?
You know, one is tempted to do that, but however, no. It is all based, obviously, on men are visually stimulated, especially sexually, whereas women, yes, they are stimulated visually by perhaps good looks or so on, but they need a lot more and a lot more emotional attachments, if you like. So men are easily turned off by something that visually they don't like, which could be weight. And I must admit, I have had a lot of letters from men who say that my wife has put on a great deal of weight and it has turned me off. And I write back and say, have you changed since you met her? They don't think of those sort of things, of course.
Theo, what do you think? Do you agree? Is it all about, you know, men being so visual and women not being as visual as men?
Oh, first of all, I think people lie on these surveys all the time, and women lie. They tend to minimize their sexuality. They tend to emphasize their feelings and the emotional component of sexuality, because that's the script they're supposed to follow. And men lie because they tend to maximize the sexuality part of it, because that's the script they're supposed to follow. Men don't dump their partners because they are overweight. They may end up not being with their partners because they're tired of their partner complaining about being overweight. What ends up happening all the time is that the guy still wants to have sex with their partner, finds their partner very attractive, but the woman won't have sex with them because she's not feeling appealing. She's feeling unsexy, and so she ends up not having sex with the man. And so after a while, in the absence of that lovemaking, the relationship can fall apart. And then afterwards, the woman can go to her friends and say, oh, he left me because I was overweight. Right. Not the case at all.
And unfortunately, all women think they're overweight. Like all women.
That's right. No one's really happy with how well they look. And really, what do we find really attractive in our partners? One of the things we find attractive is confidence. We find that really sexually appealing. So instead of going on about what you don't like about yourself and talking about it, just be able to enjoy your sexuality, share that with your partner, and you'll probably be able to enjoy yourselves a lot more.
Val, are you...
I would certainly add to that enthusiasm. I once had a man say that to me. The one thing he loved in a woman, sexually particularly, was enthusiasm. And I think that's a very important point.
And I wanted to go on with this. If a man, for example, says, and I knew this one particular fellow who was with a lovely woman, everything about her was lovely, except that when she smiled, according to him, she showed too much gum above her upper teeth. Oh. Now, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing. But now that we're talking about men who visually, if there's something visually that they just don't like, that could supersede anything else. What is it with women that they will be turned off by man? If it's not something visual, Val, what is it?
Often bad habits, gross habits.
Such as?
You know, bedtime habits and sexual habits. They can be very boring or boorish or very selfish in bed. And I think women are particularly turned off by that, especially over a long period of time. I find women do say, you know, it's just awful. I don't want to know anymore because he's just boring, he's not interested. It's
but shouldn't they say something at the time? You know? Shouldn't the woman say something at the time saying, sweetie, you know, I really
Yes, I agree.
But when you do this, at that moment, as opposed to leaving it inside, and then when they're walking out the door, they're saying, oh, by the way, the reason I'm leaving you is you're a pig in bed. Click.
No, women, I think, are more subtle about it. I mean, they probably just withdraw and say, you know, I'm not interested, or just be, you know, you know, keep out of the bed at that time or whatever. They have other methods, but I think they, yes, I agree with you, they perhaps should talk about it, and this is my whole thing about getting along as couples. Communicate, for heaven's sake, talk about the things that turn you off, turn you on as well, and communicate between each other. At least that way you get to know each other better, you enjoy each other more, as Theo says.
Theo, I got to ask you a question, though, Theo. Right. You know, I have several men that have gone through a divorce, so they're in their 40s, and I'll say to them, so, you know, who are you looking for? Because I'm pretty successful at setting people. I'll say, what, you know, what are you looking for in a girl? Well, you know, 30. And I'm like, 30? Yeah. Now, single women, in their 40s, they're like, I'll take up to 60.
Yes.
So explain that to me, Theo.
Well, you know, I think that that's changing, though. I really do. I think the whole issue of sexual differences between men and women, I think we really got to get over that, to tell you the truth. I was just recently at the Everything About Sex show in Toronto. I advise
doing research, right?
Doing personal research. It's professional on my part. But I advise everyone to go there, and what you'll find there is that there are just as many, matter of fact, there were more women there than men who are exploring this issue. I just think we got to get past the tired old stereotypes of women being into feelings and communicating and men being into porn and football. I mean, I just think.
But can you tell that to the men then, Theo? Because I think the women get it. I don't know that the guys are getting it.
Well, I think the guys that I speak to really do. They want to be closer. They talk about intimacy. They talk about lovemaking. There's a lot of guys who are really lonely and who want to be able to connect with a woman. I really think we got to get past the tired old stereotypes.
Okay, there you go, Val. So do men need this emotional attachment, and how do women provide this for us?
Oh, I think, again, it's communication. But I think the one great thing a man loves most of all is a woman to desire him, his partner, his wife, to desire him and say so and show it.
But
I think that too few women get in, just like men, into the habit of sexuality in their marriage. You know, every Saturday morning, blah, blah, blah. And it gets boring. And I think men need, as much as women, to be told, I really need you, I really want you, I think you're so attractive, you know, and all the lovely things that women love to hear.
Absolutely.
It is true that they want to hear it too, and they don't, because perhaps women don't think they need it, perhaps they think it's not necessary in their relationship, but they do. I think men need to be shown just as much as women that they are desired.
Hear, hear. And on that note, we've run out of time. But yes, ladies, tell your man how much you love him and how fabulous he is.
And I think you're both fabulous. Theo and Valerie, you're fantastic.
Fabulous.
Thank you. I feel great.
Excellent guests. And you should feel empowered as well. Valerie Gibson, Theo Sellis, thanks so much for your time today.